Welcome to Conversations from the Barn at Everwood Farmstead. These are casual chats with visiting artists. Creaky barn, bugs, and all. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Chris from Conversations from the Barn. Today I am with Miss Oakley.
Hello.
Hello. And Kerry Alexander, our artist on retreat.
Hello, it's me.
We're so happy you're here.
I'm very happy to be here.
It's been a joy this week to walk around the property and garden and hear guitar playing in the field as you're serenading the deer over there.
Yes. Someone has to.
Are they a good audience? That's the important part.
They are. You know, I'm not used to deer being that close to my body. I've seen them like out a window at my grandma's house and say, "Oh, look at the deer." But I was a little startled the first time. I like looked to the side. I'm like, "Oh, that deer is, 10 feet away from me," and it's like the squirrels in Loring Park in Minneapolis. They just don't seem to have a sense of, I should stay away. But then I would move and they would freak out and run away. But they have been a good audience. You know, they just chomp their little leaves all around me, provide a little backbeat to my songs.
Nice. What other animals have you seen?
Several chipmunks. It might be one chipmunk, I don't know. But I've seen a chipmunk a few times.
There's a group, I think.
There was a group, okay.
Yeah, They have little spots.
I saw a little field mouse, so small, just skittering away. I saw many birds making all kinds of different sounds. A fox.
You saw the fox?
I saw the fox.
There is a fox that stalks the area.
Yes, I went on a drive the other day and I saw it on the road.
Yes.
When I was coming home, I was like, "Oh, look at that fox!" Like, I should keep my eyes peeled for the fox. But then I did not anticipate that it would be around here. So I was kind of exciting. I was a little scared. And I looked up, what do you do if you see a fox? And it was basically just like, clap your hands. But when I did that research, I saw that I guess some people think that encountering a fox is lucky.
Good luck. Exactly. Yeah. I was going to say that.
So
good luck symbol.
I'm feeling pretty good.
I'm wondering if any of the menagerie of animals are going to end up in your songs.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, they definitely are physically in the songs because I was recording in the barn, and some tweets and some flaps have definitely gotten in some recordings. But yeah, we'll see. Not yet. I haven't included. Well, I guess I did write a song about a fly, the humble fly.
Inspired by a fly sighting.
Yes, yeah. Just the lots of buzzing and around me. So I just wanted to. I wanted to try and capture sort of that feeling of like the fly like swooping in close to your ear and then going away, but that like buzzing sound, sort of like stereo surround sound fly experience. So the fly made it in. Go fly.
Go fly. How was your week?
Amazing. Honestly, so great. I think you were talking about what is so special about sort of like solitude and like quiet and sort of getting away from things is like really special and kind of hard to come by sometimes in this modern society in which we live. But even for me, like I was texting with one of my friends and she was like, well, I know we've been like isolated in COVID for 2 years, but like I assume this was like better than COVID isolation. I was like, oh yeah. Because even just something about getting outside of your home and sort of, I think we were talking about this, Chris, outside of your like chores and your to-do lists and to be in a fresh space and inspiring new environment. And then for me, also just sort of like physical isolation. I do love my husband, but it is nice to just even be apart sort of for a little bit, be on your own, sort of create your own little routines and sort of uninhibited by sort of another person's routine. And I haven't really had that experience since college. So it's been really nice, sort of nostalgic feeling and very inspiring. because I think there's sort of like maybe a worry that's like you can only get this experience by something like coming to somewhere like this. But I honestly think that just having this experience is gonna like something I'll be able to sort of carry with me now for like, you know, I might need to go on another retreat in like a couple of years. We'll see. But I think it's just it's sort of like recentering, and I think I can like sort of keep that feeling of
Like momentum.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
I was curious about that. If you're able to bring something back home,
Yeah,
a different process or protection of time and space, or
yeah.
maybe an energy shift in yourself or something.
Yeah, I think all of that. And then honestly also just basically like I kind of like relearned how to use like my recording equipment. So like my when I was young and when I was in college, when I studied abroad, and I spent some summers living with my grandma, and I was using GarageBand this all the time and recording myself, and had a really good rhythm of doing that. But then once I met Chris and the band started, I had other people who could sort of do that for me, which was nice. But then I sort of like lost the skill. I mean, my husband Chris on the phone was sort of like, he was like, yeah, now you can like set up in the basement and, you know, like keep going, because now you like sort of, I'm back in the groove of recording myself. So even that's been a gift.
And that sort of shifts like your songwriting maybe practice, or like what angle you can kind of come at it from, maybe a little bit.
Yeah,
potentially.
totally. Yeah, because it's a little bit less like relying on my bandmates as much, to sort of like if I have an idea that I want to get down. The three of us started writing together, and then it was like, oh, like yes, like music. It was like I needed actually like that kind of like group dynamic to sort of like remind me how to be creative and sort of like get the wheels turning again. And so that part of our songwriting has been like really productive and amazing and inspiring. So now I feel like this experience has sort of brought the other side up to speed with the group size.
Nice.
That's really nice too.
Yeah.
You're touring a lot
Yeah.
now this year.
Yep.
And you're in between some
Yep.
dates.
Yeah. I was thankful that I could slam this in too.
We are too.
Yes. So yeah, thank you.
Are you producing new stuff creatively when you're on the road, or is that purely just output?
Yeah, that's like that's always been kind of tough for me, because again, like in terms of thinking about like sort of like alone time and that kind of space, you get like very little of that on tour, because it's like you're in the hotel all together, and then you're at the venue like in the green room, which is usually like packed and like other bands, and there are hardly any moments where you would be like alone in a room like with a guitar. But that's okay, because in some ways it's like it's sort of nice to compartmentalize a little bit, just sort of you do the work of performing and sort of focus on that part of the job, or that in itself is sort of its own art form. I feel like that's the one I'm less skilled in, but I can sort of focus on that and just sort of like the work at hand. And then when I come home, then it's like time to write again. But I do try to like write in my notebook like lyric ideas. And they got GarageBand on the iPad, so sometimes I'll be in the back, get my beats going, get my little MIDI keyboard, go plunk plunk. So I have written some things on the road. Yeah.
Tell me about your orientation to nature.
So it's been, we were just in California visiting Chris's brother, who just graduated from law school, and they live in like Palo Alto, and it's gorgeous over there, and they go camping like every weekend. I was just talking to them about how I haven't been camping in forever, but I used to go to like a sleepaway summer camp in North Carolina like every summer when I was young, and we'd camp and hike and, you know, fish and milk the cows and like pull up some carrots, and it was like the whole experience, and I did that every summer for like 10 years, maybe 8 years. But then I kind of like never did anything like that again. So I do think like nostalgia is sort of like the word I would use, because there's something that brings me back to like my childhood and those like happy summer memories, and about being in a natural environment again.
Did you feel that when you were here?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, it just reminds me of, the other day I had I went on a walk and I brought the little flashlight because I got out there a little later than I expected to. But something about that, especially sort of evening dusk walk, through the overhanging trees. It was really deja vu to being young and walking back to my cabin with my friends after hanging out looking at the stars. So yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have brought up a feeling of nostalgia in nature,
Mm-hmm,
and
right.
I think that's really interesting. How it's this sort of freedom of your mind and imagination that you have. You can kind of wonder about things that you don't really know about. I think that when you're in nature,
Yeah. And I've always been the kind of person who I feel like I think better when I'm actually moving. And oftentimes if we have a mix or something of a song that we need to listen to, I'll go out and start walking to listen to it, because that's always been a better way for me to experience music, or sort of to come up with ideas for whatever reason. But yeah, I think there is something about that. It's just yeah, it's you're letting
unfettered.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good word. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw you pacing in the driveway and wondered if that's what was going on.
Yeah, just gotta pace sometimes.
Yeah.
You were talking earlier that you had written a couple of country songs, and you were hoping to write maybe a James Bond theme.
Yeah.
What all actually bubbled up this week?
So I'm still working on the James Bond theme. That one's has proved a little trickier than I thought it would. So to give you the context, so we have a Patreon page, and sort of the thing we do is every month we try to come up with a musical challenge to then write a brand new song around. So we've done 1960s song, or a pop punk song, or a song with a key change. And I really want one of the months to be write a James Bond theme for a fictional James Bond movie. So I wrote the chords, and I did some research. I looked up lyrics of old Bond themes to try to take notes on sort of the vibe. And there's a lot of obviously lots of references to shooting. There's lots of love is the greatest risk of all. Seems to be an overarching vibe. So I came up with my title, which I think was perfect, which is Time to Kill, which has been a good foil, because I get to use the sort of we got time to kill, but also it's time to kill.
Yeah.
So that was good, but yeah, that one I'm still working on the lyrics for that one.
I think you'd be a great Jamie Bond.
Thank you.
Because no one would see you coming.
That's right.
You look so unassuming. And
Just skulking by. Yeah, it could be good. So that one's coming along. Maybe I'll finish that one today. I'll try to. But yeah, the country songs. I've been going through a country phase in my life. I'm listening to the top 40 country station and really enjoying what I'm hearing. There's something I've never listened to country, but one of my friends really loves country, so she's made me playlists of her favorite 90s, early 2000s country songs, because that's when she was really listening. And I just love a lot of the lyrics. I think the main thing that attracts me to country music, which is just really, really intense wordplay. They're not holding back. So I wondered if I would, especially in this rural setting, if I would be inspired to write some country songs. And I finished one today. I just recorded it, put it down, and I got another one in the works. So yeah, that's been good.
I was born in Austin, Texas.
Oh yes, I knew this because that's where Con is from.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
And so I grew up with that. My grandma, when we would go visit, would always have Loretta Lynn and
Yes, absolutely.
all the old school Dolly back then too.
Love Dolly.
Still amazing.
Yep. And she's still going. I love Dolly because, for many reasons, because she's really funny and great and has an amazing vibe. But I love that Dolly is a true lover of songwriting. You can just tell that her passion and her her joy is writing songs.
Yeah.
And I really relate to that. And that's why she's able to keep churning them out, because she clearly just so enjoys the process.
She transcends a lot of boundaries.
Yeah.
To,
Well, yeah, that is sort of like the paradox of Dolly, right? Because she comes across so authentic, even though, like, by her own, like, admission, that there are, like, many things about her that are not authentic. But, I mean, that's, like, one of my favorite quotes from her. She was like, I don't mind when people call me a dumb blonde, because I know I'm not dumb, and I know I'm not blonde.
Nice,
So there you go.
yes.
That's Dolly.
She's so great. We traditionally end our podcast with the same question.
Oh, okay.
So here's our question for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
How have you experienced beauty today?
Wow. I feel like I think about beauty in sort of both things spontaneous, but also things routine. Like I've come to love the practice of going on a morning walk every day, and to take in like the physical beauty of the environment, but also sort of being at peace with the daily routine and practice of just like being with your thoughts and sort of compelling yourself to sort of be free from the outside world, being alone in the world for a moment. But also I just think about the little flowers in the field that I like to sit next to, and the deer running by, and the old house that just, I don't know why I like that old house. It seems busted, but but I think it holds, you know, it's like any house like that, you know, there's so many memories and good times and bad times and good meals and many lives lived in the world. And I think as artists, we're always like, you're always like looking for like magic moments. It's like you want to, it's like you're trying to find inspiration everywhere. But I think sometimes if you're like seeking that out like too actively, that you start to not recognize magic moments in sort of like simple tasks and simple ways, or like in your daily life, because you're always like want something like big and like fireworks in the sky.
Yeah.
And I think when I first got here, I was maybe feeling like a little stressed about like I need to have like a certain kind of experience. But then just like as you like settle into it, it's sort of, you are just sort of like brought back down to just like, I don't know, just sort of moving through the day and just like letting the day hit you in a certain way. And I think that's been like the greatest lesson of this whole thing. It's just to sort of be attuned to magic that's sort of like all around you, no matter like where you are, whether you're on a beautiful farm or back home in the cities or anywhere. So I don't know, I'm sort of a rambler, but I don't know,
No.
that's my answer.
No.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Oh, yeah.
saying yes to this.
Oh my gosh, thank you for finding a week that I could do it.
Best of luck on the rest of your tour.
Thank you.
And to Chris and to Khan as well. Khan got to be with us last summer
Oh, nice.
on the retreat. We had
Lovely.
a great time with him.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But,
Cycling through the whole band.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I know Chris
Now
is
Chris has
he's the
gotta
last
come.
one. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
gotta come.
Yeah.
I think he'd like it.
Well, stay in touch. Let us
Oh,
know about new music
absolutely.
and what's happening in the world, in your world. We're big fans.
Oh my gosh, we love it here, and we'd love to play again. So
Great.
yeah,
Done. We'll sign
do
it
it.
up.
Great, love it.
Thanks so much.
Of course.
Thanks for listening to Conversations from the Barn at Everwood Farmstead. Our theme music is provided by John Mark Nelson. Wishing you all good health.